morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal on her way to work after a wonderful vacation. I just want to thank all of you who supported me in going, emotionally and intellectually, and all of you who were so kind to come say hello to me while I was down at VidCon and at Disneyland. I felt really quite humbled, I think is the word you'd have to use. I was quite shocked at how many people actually knew who I was. And it wasn't just when I was with Benji or with Judy or something like that. I was just amazed. And for, a while there I was wearing a shirt that told everybody who I was, but, when I was at Disneyland there was no shirt to tell anybody who they were following. So it really, I want to tell you, for those of you who wonder what that experience is like, it isn't just that they recognize you. That's stunning. It's the look on the viewer's face that is stunning. It brings tears to your eyes just to even think about it. That they are so caring of you, and really so polite, so excited. And I have to relate to that, don't I? How could I not relate to that? So it really is an honor, I have to say that. The whole experience was such that it's a really important part of the growth, I think, of DearMamaSal, in as much as, other than the fans, and they will always be up there in a level of their own, other than the fans, I always said that you go to something like VidCon, if you can come away with one good takeaway for your business, then it was worth the price of admission. With VidCon there were so many. Okay, driving behind a little Richard without any signals in availability apparently. I want to go and let him know that he has turn signals, and this is why we use them. Not this morning. Would not be a good idea, no. And the whole reality of all of this is that I'm so glad that I went. For those of you who know me, even a little bit more than others, and I know some of you know me fairly well, and you can imagine my inner kid just could not believe Disneyland. I don't want to talk too much about it because I'll cry, and I don't think I should be driving and crying. So, but I'm sure you saw the emotion, and I'm sure that you are aware that it really is quite funny. If you haven't read my piece that I wrote on the blog at DearMamaSal.com, you might want to. If you go there, it'll be under the recent videos, you will get the article that I wrote about going to that. Because it's important, I believe, to just add that reality in. We are just about to celebrate 3 years on YouTube. And what makes it so important as I, go into next month, and we head towards the end of it and the birthday of DearMamaSal, what makes it so important to my mind is that we're not in what I call a popular genre. We're not doing makeup. We're not doing, well, we do it occasionally for fun. But we're not, doing that sort of what I call high volume stuff. And So it makes it very exciting to me that we actually get the sort of support and viewership that we do. And I'm very, very grateful. It tells me there are an awful lot of people around who actually do enjoy growing. They do enjoy a little bit of wit and wisdom, presumably. You know, I think it's wonderful. And I really am quite stunned at the shift in our viewership in the last year. We've picked up a lot of guys in the last year. And in fact, men now constitute a quarter of our audience, which I am very, very grateful for, because I think it's very important for men to understand some of the concepts that we talk about. The reason I say that is that I can remember even 25 years ago, standing up on stage time and time again and saying my biggest worry for the future is that almost every major conference I attended or was keynoting on, or doing a speech of some sort on, almost every time I did one of those, the majority of the audience was women, not men. And my concern was that by the time we got to now, men would be that far behind in some way the emotional 8-ball, and they would still be functioning under the old system, if you like, as opposed to the new one. And they would not understand women, because women would be in a different mindset. And so it's wonderful to me that we now have a situation where men are listening to what we're doing and that are presumably enjoying it. So thanks, guys. And thank you to those guys who write to me and ask me questions. I don't always have the perfect answer, but I will do whatever I can to get back to you and support you. I don't have to tell any of you regulars that one of my biggest fears, and I've got to say it, in a way it's a fear, every time I do a trip like this, is what's going to happen to me when I get back, because I'm pretty sure that when we get an increase in viewership, we also get an increase in emails and questions and things like that. So it's nearly always a little bit extra work on the front end. And I'm also delighted for that. And so for those of you who have written, thank you so much. And I will get back to everybody as soon as I can. And I know that you all know that. It's a very high priority of my life, is to write back to people who write to me. I've been doing fairly well at keeping up with the comments. What really blows me away is the dramatic shift in Instagram. Now, Instagram is the one place where I don't just have DearMamaSal as the name. I had to put in the real DearMamaSal because somebody else decided to take my name and use it, and I'm going to have to tell you what I think about that. But never mind. Anyway, so really a big jump in Instagram, so people have obviously been enjoying the pictures that we've been putting up, which is awesome. What I want to do over the coming weeks is obviously feed you the rest of the footage that I have. And I'm thinking about just doing a little bit with each video, so that we get through it all. The temptation is, because you've seen some of it, some of you have seen it elsewhere, not to put it up at all. And I'm going, no, you want my version of this, not somebody else's. So that's what I'm going to give you. Because the light show was so incredible, I was thinking, I recorded almost all of it, and I was thinking I might just put a little bit of that light show up every, or almost on every video, just so you can get the sense of it, because it's another sense. You have your audio sense, and then you have your visual sense, and there's something about the visual of watching a whole presentation on reflected against water fountains that is just so wonderful. And part of me goes, it's almost like only Disney could do it the way that they do. A little bit of a hating thing going on. And I just want to tell you the truth on this, because you guys deserve that. Sure, it hurts really very badly, when people are that wicked. And that's wrong. But you need to know that it's part of being a YouTuber, and you're going to get people doing that. So I was really grateful to Sophie, who managed to find an absolutely awesome piece of advice on haters, and I put it up on Facebook. For those of you who haven't seen it, go to Facebook, DearMamaSal on Facebook, and scroll down until you get to the video clip on haters. It is brilliant. It really is. It's really well done, and I have nothing but thanks to the guy who did it, because it was just very short and very sweet and very real and very effective. And so I put it up because I know my viewers well enough to know that that would hurt them as well as hurting me. And that's what it's meant to do. So let's just let it go. I wanted to tell you one story today, and I will tell you many stories hopefully over the course of the next few weeks, but I wanted to tell you one story today that caught me by surprise and affected me deeply. I was in a workshop, and we were discussing in that workshop fandom, and that would be your fans. And they were talking all the statistics about how we can track this, that, and the other, and all the rest of it. And it really made me put up my hand and ask a question. And the question that I asked, and I'm going to try and describe it to you for those of you who don't necessarily have marketing as a background or may not know the term, but what I said was that, all the analytical information on YouTube is what they call demographic. And that is, how old are you, where do you live, how much money do you earn, YouTube doesn't tell me that, but you understand it. It gives you the who, what, why, where, when, and how, sort of statistically who you are as a person. Now, and my question to the panel was, in a medium that I believe to be psychographical rather than demographical, psychographical meaning, it's about what you do. Who are you as a person? Do you go to church? Do you volunteer your time? Do you care about other people? Do you play baseball 6 times a week? Or do you go and watch baseball 6 times a week? You know what I mean? That is what they call psychographical. It means, what do you do with your life? Rather than statistically, how old are you, and da-da-da-da. So my question to the panel, now that I've described that, was, why don't we have more psychographical information about the viewers rather than demographical? Because I said it's taken me a long time to find out what the common denominator is of the majority of my viewers, psychographically. And, that was my point, and I was trying to sit down when somebody from the panel stunned me, because she said, whoa, wait a minute. And I sort of looked and said yes, and she said, what was it? And I said, what was what? And she said, what was it that you found out was the common denominator in the majority of your viewers? And I want to tell you something. I was not expecting that question. And so it caught me totally off guard. And I have to say, and it's emotional even talking about it, that my voice cracked. And I said, they care. And as the tears started to roll out of my eyes, this panelist looked at me across all these people in the room and said, and that would be a reflection of you. And I put this on here because that's the reason I was concerned about the haters. Because I know that a lot of you do care. Most of you care a great deal. In fact, to be a super fan, which you all know who you are, you have to care. Right? You have to care past the occasional blip in the road. You have to care past the occasional personality issues. You have to care when I get sick and I can't vlog or do whatever. You have to care. And so it was a very, very meaningful moment for me. And I have to say that I walked away from that particular seminar moved. Moved because of the reality. I have some super fans who are really decent human beings. And occasionally they have a bad day, and occasionally I do too. So not only do they care deeply enough about each other, but they care deeply enough to know that they're human and accept others in the same vein. Big shout out to all of you, and you know who you are. For all the new fans that have joined recently, and I should mention that. That's the common denominator. If you want to be around DearMamaSal as a network, then know that we care about things. We're pretty passionate people. And I do say a very big welcome to you all. And maybe I should have started with that. Duh. Maybe I'll put a note at the front of it. Did I? But I do want to say that just for those of you who are new, welcome on board, and thank you so much for subscribing. I know a lot of you have, and if you haven't, guys, there's a bar along the top here that if you punch that, it brings up another screen on another tab, and you can do it later. But I just thought I would let you know that it's an absolute pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here most of the time. And there are days when it's not quite as pleasurable. But luckily they're very few and far between. It's my absolute pleasure to have done this trip and to have met so many new people. And I know that as I drive here now, it's just 3 weeks away from Vlogger Fair, so hopefully I will get to meet some more very soon. So everybody, this is DearMamaSal saying thank you. Thank you for caring. Because it is my reality that if you guys hadn't cared, I wouldn't be here today. So thank you for caring about who I am and my life and how I do the things I do. And I will continue to do everything within my power to bring you as much wit and wisdom as I can muster up. Big hugs to you all, virtual hugs to those who need it, and a special shout out to those that are feeling a little overwhelmed at the moment. If ever I can help, feel free to write to me. In the meantime, bye-bye for now.